aware eye nyame nhihye na aware nso eye nhira obi biara okọ aware mu bia na wo so tie asese nioma poti bi wo ha e wo se o man eye osua ade ana se eye weni da so ade a wo de bi kọ aware mu nkofo bebree nso ena ewo enida so ade se ompese mo kọ aware mu nya enije ba to enye ni nyina nso ena enije ewo aware mu esa nioma nkitinkitin bi etasi wo aware mu ntino eya enije no enter NCP. What I'm simply trying to say is that a lot of people go into marriages and they have dreams, they have desires, they have what they expect to see in their marriages. But most times it's not everybody that is able to achieve that dream or have that fulfillment because of certain little things they are not able to consider or to look into before they enter into the marriage. So this day I am here this morning, I'm here to share with you on things to avoid in marriage, or things to avoid when you are going to marriage or whilst you are in marriage. Niama ewo se utwi ufim se woye okunu anase oyere anase obi biara wokwa aware mu niama eni se esi wo abrabo manase wodi woye se na be boa wa aware betumi edimo na answer na mesha se na mekan efri trasem no. I will be reading from Proverbs chapter number 17 verse number 14 says, the beginning of strife is as when one lets out water. Therefore leave off contention before there is quarreling. And the verse number 18 also says, a man void of understanding strikes hand and becomes surety in the presence of his neighbor. He loves transgression that loves strife. He that raises high his gate seeketh distraction. He that hath a wayward heart findeth no good. And he that hath a perverse tongue falleth into mischief. The key thing here of reading this message tells us that we should be wise and be careful in the choice of our words. What we say matters a lot as far as marriage is concerned. It is said also in the same verse 17 of Proverbs 17, verse number 24 to the verse number 28. It says that wisdom is before the face of him that have understanding, but the eyes of a fool are in the ends of the earth. A foolish son is a grief to his father, and bitterness to her that bear him. Also to punish the righteous is not good, nor to smite the noble for their uprightness. 27. He that spareth his words have knowledge, and he that is of a cool spirit is a man of understanding. Even a fool, when he holds his peace, he is counted wise. When he shatters his lip, he is esteemed as prudent. What it simply means is that even if a fool is able to keep his anger and control his temper, he is considered to be wise. In the same way, he says that he that spareth his words have knowledge. In other words, say, "Would to me show kasaso." Now, would to be show one final maybe more. Emfa ntokwa eni pipe mumba ewa ware mu ebe me sori no ye ne yiri oba be sori no ye ne kunu nsem enim no o kankyere no na akotwe ntokwa eni ntutuye bebre aba no twro sem no kankyere sese yetumi ehwe ye kasa so yi a edi ebeboa na obi anso tumi hwe ne kasa so yi ne nsem o ka no o si se nipa no wo nyansa. Amen. Enti no e wo se eti asese ye kasa mu no e wo se ye hwe na obi we bisa senti sofo ede nneoma potin na e wo se eni se ye anase e wo se ye hwe so e wa ware mu. The critical thing to avoid, or the first critical thing to avoid in marriage, is to avoid the blame game. A lot of people are in the marriage and they are blaming each other for everything, blaming each other for the mistakes of their past, blaming each other for the challenges of the economy, blaming each other for what somebody said, blaming each other for a mistake that they thought they could have avoided. All these things goes a long way to put stress on the marriage relationship. It is not the best as far as marriage is concerned. Niam pesa me kan say ebinu wa ware mu a ntutuya na say ntokwa wa ware no mu no say ene be ma no say oba no ye ese oba no say be ma no ye ese omo nyina ngi ntum so omo ye mfumso omo de mfumso no tu nipa mienu no so be ma no say oba na afum ye oba no so be ma na ye wo hwatro asem mu eye Bible mu Genesis chapter 3 emra oba afum ye no okodi eduaba na nyamesi momundi na odi mani kru momudi ye no emra nyame eba edentrom wona obebisa say Adam wo ifana Bible say Adam say me te wo ne Awurade ena me dwane de me ho kosie ye na Adam ni Eve ene nkrofo a enyade ne omo si yo krenken ede ye ehweso ade ema ye efa aware ho the Bible say emra santutuye no eba won tem no bema ni dwane kosie ye anaso ne oba no ekosie ye because omo person be hu Awurade hihye aware se na ebe ya ade bia na ebe tena ne na ase na ye de ehu no na ye de ehu no kwan na yetumi de aboye bra but emra san say nipa ye mfumso nti nipa ntumi nko Awurade enim bio enti Awurade bi so mo se na duaba na bi se mo di no modi ana Adam beji atum se if so no bema no ni ti no odi mfumso no ko hye oba no se Awurade oba na won ne maame no onno ma be duaba no di ye nyame bi so oba no so de mfumso no ko hye serpent no eye aboatea no se ono e na odada me enti wu afiti ase no sade no te asi ebesi samri oba ni oyiro betena aware mu entutie beba ebi amike mfumso no fi bema no bema ni beji mfumso na atum se me na maye mfumso apa oba no cho na oba no de ache nti no esan se owo pride ana se owo ahomaso se bema nti no eye ne din ye ne ya pass obeka nche ne se mafum enti no odi eni edin eni patapa edi ginemu se onfum ye ne wama asem no nyina akoye we no odi asem na hye ne ire se sanka wutumi hwemi ye ana se wutumi ye yusi anka manko di oba we echi ana se anka manko no sansen ana se manko ye nia wo se maye ni nyina efiwo sanso ne so oba no so fum a e wo se ogitum no pa oba ma no cho no ono so be ginemu no ono so de ye asem no de aye bufuo no de aye ntokwa no waka se wan hwe mi nti na me kokoye ne me ye no hwe mi anka me koye ne me ye na e wo se nyina ati ase se obi ni ye eni kwan se ye mfa nyamfum so nyame ma ho kwan sa. What I'm trying to say is that in marriage we should avoid blame game, because from Genesis we have been blaming ourselves. Adam and Eve, the first marriage, blamed themselves. Adam said it is Eve that deceived him to take the fruit in the Garden of Eden, according to Genesis chapter 3. And Eve also blamed the serpent for deceiving her to eat the fruit. However, God gave them their own will to be able to exercise their will. They should have accepted their mistakes and apologized. But because of pride and because of what they don't want to let go, they were rather playing games with themselves. In marriages today, most of the challenges of marriages today is that the couples are blaming each other. They blame each other for nothing. The man would have gone to make a mistake, either sleep with a woman or cheated on the woman or gone to do something that is evil. Instead of him to accept it and apologize, he finds it difficult to do it because he thinks when he does that, it will be a trump card for the woman to use against him. So he will not do it. He would rather stir up quarrel, use abusive words, and even try to justify his error by saying that because of what the woman did, that is why he also went ahead to chase a woman or to sleep with a woman or to do that which he did. It is not right. The same thing applies to the woman. The woman might err. All that is needed is to apologize. But she's also afraid that when she does that, the man will capitalize on it and use it against her. So she has to stand in her pride and deliberately deny and blame the man for the man's mistakes. That if it hasn't been for the man's ABC, she wouldn't have also gone ahead to do what she did. We have to understand, beloved, that for our marriage to be successful, the Bible says that the marriage is an honorable thing. And the marital bed should be kept undivided. For marriage to be successful, we have to avoid the blame game, because the blame game has never helped anybody. Let us accept our responsibilities of error and apologize to each other and correct it. And listen to me, you man out there, you woman out there. One thing I want you to know is that when you offend each other, ask for forgiveness and let it go. Don't keep it in you. Bible says we should not keep the records of wrong. Love does not keep the records of wrong. And love is the binding principle of every marriage. So if you wrong each other, don't blame each other. Forgive each other and don't keep it. Don't use it as a trump card tomorrow. No, it's not supposed to be like that. And stop blaming each other. The next issue which has created a lot of problem in marriages is comparison. And most people compare their wives with other women. If you look at Asimesi is slim. Asimesi is like that. If you have been like Asimesi, it would have been better. The woman also said that, when I met Mr. John, if he had been like Mr. John, it had better. The way Mr. John dressed, the way Mr. John acts, I admire it. It is very wrong to compare. Bible says that he that compares themselves with themselves are not wise. They are fools. It is important to know that when you marry the man, you marry the man out of love and respect. When you marry the woman, you marry the woman out of love and respect. And to those of you out there who have not married, when you are marrying a woman, you marry the woman out of respect and marry the man out of respect. It is that love and that respect you have for each other. That's why you entered into the marriage. At no point should you compare your wife to another woman. At no point should you compare your husband to another man. If your husband is even erring or making mistake, don't tell him that, I wish you are like Mr. This or Mr. That. It bruises the ego of men and it rather creates more troubles. The same way applies to the woman. Don't tell your wife or your spouse or your girlfriend or your would-be wife that I wish you are like Nanajua or Akosia. Akosia is like this. If you had been like Akosia, it would have been better. Don't do that. It bruises the ego of the woman. Even if you want to use that to change character, don't refer or don't compare. Use it as a way of an advice and don't mention names or compare names. Oh, I like the way Mr. This man dresses. If you dress that way, it is good, it is wrong. Near person make can say, my nye into tiho, ewa awarimu. And also be a woka awarimu. Men she be maybe nka say, she sani asimesi, SCS no, so usiesi unsa, ankebe. And also unse asimesi ni iri, ompene iri pa, aden na menso, yentumi nyesa, yenyesa ewa awarimu. Near was a yen says, so the bayan futio crampo na, pe kwen bisu nyasa kwen so, na fat mu fan tu mufu. Efam mu siesi anase mu kura ewa aware no anase se na mode mu bedi nkita ho no, but memma se mo be ye se mode mu ho ebe compare mu ho anase mode mu ho be si obi hu aka se wo hwe asemesi aware se wo so ye ni si anka be boaye debida mo ye saa no a ede entutuye eba aware mu ena afi nso memfa aware entutu obi aware ho ye nko aware mu saa ma weni nji aware ho na infomso aware ho anase adepa bi a wasua fi aware bi no mu no masa de no ende di aware mu. Practice it and don't rather use comparison. Use practicality in the marriage than comparison. The third thing I want you to know, beloved out there, gentleman who is thinking of marriage, lady who is thinking of marriage, married couples, I want you to have a lasting marriage and a joyful marriage. Avoid using abusive words at each other. Bible says that life and death is in the power of the tongue, and we shall eat thereof whatever we say concerning it. Some of the challenges we find today in marriages is not as a result of anything. It's as a result of the words we are speaking against each other. The man goes cursing the woman. The woman goes cursing the man. And today you find yourself in trouble as far as the marriage is concerned. Your business is not going on well. Your life, you are sick. You are going through trouble financially, emotionally, everything. It's all because of the words you are using against each other. Because words are life. And words have effect. So be careful the words you use against each other. Don't use abusive words. Use loving words. It no matter how angry you get, control the words that comes out of your mouth. Because words can destroy and words can make. Use creative words. Use edifying words. Don't say words like, when you do, I will divorce you. Me, if you do, I'll kill you. Or I will no more marry you. And all those things. They are words, they are life. And you might reap thereof. Bible says that whatever we sow, we shall reap. Near me person me can say, a dear be so how are ye in summer ye can say, I will say it to me jai. If say send be obe atu cruise and answer yereso and answer ba wa warren so sadia no to be dh. If you say kasa wo we will to me pa. Enti hwe kasa wo eya wo ka nsempa ma wo kasa ehwehwam na entumi emua aware no. Men can be say me de we am jail. E be ma ben kura na so ba ben no. And I say when we are shower we say eni say we use our words no. If you say kasa wo be kan no eno na be ma nipa no akoye nia wo empese obeye. Ebinu waware mo bre enso no mo nim kasa mo kan ye ntine ban se. Nti se wa keka sansem ni bia oba wutie be ma wutie bi kwawrade no na sere bonifache. Se na be ye betumi aboaye. The next thing I want you to be careful of or to avoid in marriage is avoid over expectation from the relationship. Most couples have high expectations of their marriage before they entered in. There are so many high expectations of the marriage. It is wrong. We are human. We have our weaknesses. We have our shortcomings. So they entered into the marriage and they were expecting the man or the woman to have done X, Y, Z. When they do not get it, they get disappointed, and that affects the marriage. Some get disappointed at the honeymoon. Some get disappointed before the honeymoon time. The reason is this. When you are going to marry or you are going to enter into marriage, accept the woman for whoever she is. And don't have over expectation of the relationship. Don't think the marriage will be the last stop for all your needs. The last stop for all your finances. The last stop for all your love. The last stop for everything you are looking for. It's a problem. Or the last stop for your sex desires and sex gratification. Don't have over expectation of the marriage. Go in as it is and build it up. Nehemiah can say, "Ebinum owa omu wonsusia ebru omu adwanse omu dwin say ena me ware pe na me bresu nyina etwa eyentro anase me ware pe eche say seven previousa impasuko anase second anase horse riding no so betwa fi say me disuja ache ena ma hya me ho so sasia me ntumi ntimi ya ware kura se na be ya metumi akọ paradise ana metwa empokoko no across the sea no." But I was saying, yes, answer the rest in the pine. There is an effort, there is work. And you have to prepare yourself before you enter into it. Don't over expect, because you cannot get where you have not sown. Sow into the marriage. So love, so understanding, so caring, so compassionate, so understanding, so into it money, so into it desires and needs of the relationship, and you will reap from it. Nehemiah can say, for odowura ware no fantiase, for kruye any bia wure me no so no aboawo men hwa aware se aware wo ware ye pe na obi bia be yi wo se wo se aware ya hyase ema ye nyina nse ye ti ase a ebeboa ye. The other thing is to avoid arguing before your friends, family and children, maid servant, etc. Stop arguing before your friends. Stop insulting and mentioning or calling names in the presence of your friends and insulting each other. It is not advisable, because the picture you paint before your friends about your wife or about your loved one is the same way they are going to address him or her. So be careful. Men can your mama be brave? Oh, now for him and shre, or now for sena we and answer we have a warranty. Sabi, when will be a crap and can't show project we know ever now for him. Momu on for bro man. If it's a senior, I wouldn't never casanas obey no sounds of Musibinaso and no. Edi nkitaho nti mo odone nti ase na obuo enna ho bibi obegina bia no boni dimpa men se ni din e wo nanfo nim kasempa fa no ho se na be o mo nso de ebuo eni nti ase eni we busuafo enim nyina ye ne sa na be bu aware no ade ba nko so mpese wa kwa aware ma se wa kwa aware mhwe ne se avoid impulse buying yem bebre no yem plan e na yeto ade bibi e be mu bia pese yeto e wo se ye hwe ni yi emwa aware ese ya aware e de ntutie ba aware mu. You have to guide your impulse buying, budget and buy, so that you can save money and save your future. Don't overspend before you enter into wedding. Spend little, save more for your wedding. Don't have extravagant wedding. Nobody is going to force you. Stay within your means and marry according to your means, because there is more after marriage, so that you can save more. In the marriage also, don't overspend. Judiciously use your money. The next thing I want you to be careful of and to be mindful of, as far as being in marriage or going into marriage is concerned, is to avoid over involvement of loved ones in your relationship affairs, be it parents, friends, etc. What it simply means is that there are people in marriage relationship. Once they are entering into the marriage or they are in the marriage, every little thing of the marriage they go to tell their parent. The woman runs to the mother, the man runs to the mother. Everything the mother is aware, everything the father is aware, everything friends are aware, every little thing they are telling people. It is bad against marriage. It puts a lot of stress on the marriage. You open the doorway for people to interfere in your marriage and to create problems for your marriage. Every marriage needs to go through preparation. Every marriage needs time to mature. Every marriage needs time to develop. So you need space in your marriage relationship. Beloved, listening to me. Anytime you have challenged your marriage, find a way the two of you sit down and deal with it. Do you know what you are doing to yourself? You are maturing, because everybody in marriage, you should be emotionally matured, psychologically matured, financially matured, spiritually matured. So if you are not able to solve your problem, God created marriage for solution, not for problem. So if you have challenges or little problems and you be telling your father, telling your mother, my husband said this, my wife said that, and all those, you behave like children. Marriage is not for children, marriage is for adults. Adults are those who are able to sit down and handle their problems and face it. They say sorry when it's needed. Every man of integrity will say, I am sorry. Every man of integrity admits a fault and say, I am sorry. So when you have problems, sit down and deal with your differences. Analyze it. Correct it. Move on with life. Don't involve loved ones because they love you. As you go complaining, you tempt them to enter into the marriage and begin dictating. The next time you realize there is divorce, there is stress. Meanwhile, you love yourself. Don't do that. Solve your problems and deal with it. When it becomes more than what you can bear, look for an experienced, listen to the word, an experienced marriage counselor whose marriage has been tested and been proven before you can share, because every man and every marriage has a problem, but everyone manages the problem. The key thing about every marriage is tolerance. So don't see any good marriage outside and think it's automatic. The people have their own stress in the marriage, but they have learned to tolerate each other and to learn to stretch and be able to maintain and accommodate each other. It doesn't mean that they don't have any problem. There is no marriage anywhere. If anybody should tell you that his marriage is without problem or stress, it's a lie. But we have learned to be mature to handle it. That is what makes us mature people. Now, me person me can say, "Wo kwa ware man ase wo ware mu a, enye bibia na wo de beko ebusu enim. Oba wo sori na wo kanche o maami na esi wa ware mu. Oba ma wo sori na wo kanche wo ba me no papa no na esi wa ware mu. Ebi no wo krampo mu ndidi wo fie no mako didi wo maami ho. Ana mo sori na wo kokoda wo maami ho no no those things. Wo ye saa, wo ye wa de ti sa bofra. E mo franso ware eye panyimfo e na e ware. Obi a wadwumi ado, wadwumu do. Obi a ye friend say utumi e control mu, anase utumi tsena ho, edi wo so, e na utumi kwa ware mu. Enti sanso na sensem ba ware mu, e wo se utumi nya ahoduro ejina. Na mutumi kan asem na munyina mu nsɛmfom so bia mo mpa mo cho na ma mo mfa sanfom so no so embe ye signboard e de bia no mo kan asem na mo de akaka mo ho mo ngye mu na mutumi ntina efise mo ma ebusuafo hu aware ma na se mo adofo hu aware mu nsɛm bebre a omo de ntutu beba aware efise mo dom enti nsɛm bia no pese on beka bi na so mo kan so bia no mo ankɔpɛ na no so akɔdane asɛm enti wo a wotie me mesrew aware bia no nsɛm gum aware bia ntutu egum. And so near boa warrior to me at night in fear bebreno. Ubi so man, I'm can't say, or my jack to me say, our Arabiano is a winting or man, some about my share count massem, Edomo influence such a chomo, and a mood a twasso edico. And then ne abuom, and tinya akudro to boissy. If you say, Bemebiano or Bebiano, yenaya one from so. But Nyami Abdom, any piebo, any bar queer, any to me ditna. Se nyame tumi de yebone kyeye ndia ene yenso betumi de yehu bone akyeye hu enti na aware bia no e wo se ma Yesu Kristo eye fapem e wa aware no. Christ should always be the rock and the center of the marriage so that we can learn to forgive each other. And when we can forgive, if God can forgive us our sins, then we can also forgive each other, and the Lord will help us in this marriage. The next thing I want you to know is that avoid discussing or complaining your relationship issues with work colleagues, friends and family. Ebinu wo fa waware no wade akotena adwuma mu na wo ka ne wukunu yema wo odo a ode di kire wo nsem ono wo we no do. It is wrong. Enye obia na wo so te wasem oba warefo obema warefo hwe ni ye se bi producer ne wo no wo yiri eye wo mpem nyina wo sori na wo koka ye nyesa ma enye secret anase ties sumase asem ene wo ne wo yiri ntem. If you say, our Arabia was the secret, so let it remain there and don't be telling people. Oba, ladies, be careful. A man comes your way, the man begins to take good care. They begin telling your friends all the good things the man is doing for you. And within a short time, you lose the relationship. Or you are in the marriage, you are telling people the good things your husband is doing for you. Oh, they always say, my husband does this. And of a short time, you realize that the man begins to change, because it's not every ear that needs to hear what you say. It's not everybody that loves you. So be careful where you discuss your marriage issues or relationship. Keep it to yourself. Celebrate it, enjoy it. So that you, if you are in pain, also find a way and deal with it. Don't be complaining to your colleagues, or don't be telling them of the good side where they took you to, the merrymaking you went and have, and all those things. Hey, as for me, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, Mr. Yamasua. No, it's wrong. Let's be wise and guide our marriage, because it's not everything that glitters that is good. Avoid over preparation of wedding day and rather prepare for the marriage. To those of you who are yet to go into marriage, you have more time, you have more opportunity. Pray, seek the face of God. Be careful. Don't go into marriage Avoid you being forced into marriage. Avoid distant marriages. Avoid picture marriage. Be sure you know the man in and out before you marry. Avoid having sex before marriage because it can steal the joy of the marriage. Love yourself, develop your life, court for some time, and don't overcourt. Don't court for so many years. 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, at least 6 months, 1 year you should be marrying because you will know certain things in marriage before courtship. The challenge or what comes up for long courtship is that sometimes when you are courting long, the problem happens is that along the line you are not even when you want to keep yourself before marriage, it gets to a time it becomes difficult because the more you see each other, the more you bond. And there are things that attract everybody into marriage. One is the person's physical outlook. 2, the spiritual, which is the inner character and the respect. 3 is the sexual appeal. 4 is the person's level of maturity and the way he handles himself or herself. 5 is the economic stability of the person. These are some of the things that you looked at before you enter into any marriage relationship, with the fear of God, of course, being the first. Because the Bible says the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. Now, if you are courting for long, the frequency of seeing each other sometimes brings challenges. Before you realize, you can start sleeping with each other. And immediately you start sleeping with each other, the love devalues. And then you might not even respect yourself any longer. The anxiety and the eagerness of marriage leaves your heart. That is why you can see some people, they have courted for far long, and marriage becomes a problem for them. They are not able to marry. And eventually they divorce. And when those things happen, it creates a lot of tension and hurt in relationship. The other reason why I said that when you are in school, you should not court is that when you are, for instance, you are in SHS or you are in the university, first year, second year, third year, fourth year, and you enter into any serious relationship, you are bound to make promises to each other. But most of these promises, you will not be able to keep them because sometimes after school, there are challenges of looking for job and settling and all those things. You might not even know where you find yourself the next time. God has so many ways. You might be leaving the shores of this nation or be somewhere. That is why when you are in school, the best thing you do is that you keep pure platonic relationship. You build relationship with people. You build relationship with the ladies. After school, you might meet other women and other men. So that gives you an opportunity for you to settle down. Now, after you have settled down with work, you can now take a decision to marry because marriage is, you don't jump into marriage, you prepare for marriage. So these are some of the challenges you get. Niame kwala kan say ebi no wa omo kota omo che during courtship e chance be bria e ma odon na e dare wo makoma mu no esute efise ni mu no wa nhwe ya na ena akopiem mo de munya de mo ka mo so pe na e de edu be bia toche etumi ba na be ma no se me mpa obium ana so ba no se me ko eno so ko ba no sa e de ohaw bebri ba enti na me kan say ni se mutumi e ko toche enti na answer na be hye ana so be plan so be ware e wo se wo dwin wo first so be ware answer na wa start courtship enu mra wo be ware amen start courtship fa danfo nyame nsi wo kwan se wo ne oba be ya danfo na se wo ne be ya danfo enti mu da munya nafo na mu hu mu enye se mbe hu mu wo mpem but mu hu mu na mu hu mu suban en bibia ekopem mre kran be hu se sisi ande ma ye claro na se ma prepare fa ware ebubeka say ne da be na eche say eden na be che say my ready for ware enye age nkire say why ready for ware ne eche say why ware say 1 wo ejuma bi a wo ye 2 wo ba bi a wo da enye say mansion na say but wo ba bi a opon ejuma kwa wo de wuti ba kwa 2 3 wo your friend is say nyame suru ana say wutumi tina ene nyame edi nkita ho 4 wo obi a me fa ne say wutumi ekura wakuma mu a wokuma emba basabasa wontene wonsa e woni paso ana say wunye wutumi sha won so very very important. When you get to that level, you know that you are getting ready to marry. It is important. So you have to know that you need emotional stability, you need psychological stability, you need financial stability, you need spiritual discernment and stability, and of course you need some job, sound work to do and where to put your head before you think of marriage. So with all these things, don't be in school once you are taking money from your parents and all this and said you want to. Those relationships, some ends in marriage, but it is not all that ends in marriage. And sometimes it has own challenges. So my advice to you is that it is best to stay until you have completed school or until you have found your bearings in life before you contemplate of marriage. Because marital issues are very deep. And sometimes on the surface, you might be misled. I know it's not easy. but you can do it. With determination, with understanding, you can do it. And that can help you to be able to know the varieties you choose. Because sometimes you might narrow your choices. If in school, immediately you pick on this lady, this is the lady I want to marry, you might narrow your choices. Because every man potentially is entitled to about 7 women. Not 7 women to sleep with them, but can select or choose from about 7 women. Which means you have about 7 suitors, which are all good and can fit into you. And anytime you are going to choose also, look for the woman, like I said, the woman that has inner beauty, has the fear of God, courteous, sound, matured, emotionally, psychologically. And look at the same thing applies to the man. Look out for all these things and the Lord will help you. So don't rush into it, but take your time. The Lord will be your help. The last thing I want to say is that avoid excessive demands. Don't be asking too much from the marriage. Or baby, it is not the best. Na won so abo emema no mummu amma no muntumi nye adwuma emema no so mummu am kunu no mo adwuma nkoso ma weni so sika wukunu ma ho ma weni nje ho kakra od bema no dane no na ntumi nya kese sa bema no so sanso na won so ma wo yiri asede nya wasede oba so ma wukunu asede nya wasede munyina mo hwe wo mumma mo adwuma munyina mo ye no menu enka mo adwuma ho na moni enso mo ho mamu nhwe obi aware emfa nya maware mamu nhwe obi ana mo ntio mfa nya mana mo ntio ne amuni no mamu mfo so se mo benya muntum bo ase emra no so a mubenya se muni kan na munde urade ase muni sikanda munde urade ase muntum bo ase urade mre ene mrepa emra no du a obenya ne awohwe nyina yemfa pete prekope enkotena so ye hya ase efifom ansa na yadusuru into tubo ase oba tubo ase bema emfa nioma ebisa menhwe obi emfa nya wodie tubo ase na nyame beso be hyira sanso na mema no so muntum bo ase mamumpre emfa ne a enisemo ye aware any shira if you ready. Take your time and don't have excess demands. Start from somewhere. Grow gradually. What you don't have today, don't fight for it. Don't covet it. Take your time because covetousness can kill you. And let the love be without stress. Let the love be without borrowing. Let the love be without excessive demands. Let love permeate through the marriage. And when you do this, the good Lord would bless you and your life will never be the same again. I bless you and I know God is going to keep you and keep this marriage, and I pray that the hand of the Lord will rest upon every relationship. The power of God will overshadow every relationship. The grace of God will fill every relationship. Those that are going to marry, may the Lord guide them and be with them. I leave you with the peace of God and I know you are on top and your marriage will never be the same again. I want you to know that God loves you and God knows that you can make it. Marriage is a blessing as far as God is concerned. And I know that you will never ever regret your marriage. God will help you and guide you. And we'll be praying with you. My name is Reverend Ismaila Awudu, the head pastor of ICGC East LEGON Yahweh Temple. Nyami Shrao, Nyami Tukwem, Nyami Mwao, Ewa Warrior Mwana Muntia Wutu. Ne Kehuni se Iradido, the Iradiso da Warrior. Ne Mijidi Pass and Nia Wetieno, Bebwao, Ewa Warrior Anamuntium. Nen ade bi a chiri wadwen so bia no wo de chiroto na bisa me emre no so a ye bedi nkuta ho na nyame nso ebe ye nhira nyame nhira na onhwe wo so me di Yesu ja.